Welcome. This is part one of Tomb Raider, and we're going to dive into Lara Croft's first adventure here. So, there'll be a little bit of an intro, and alright. So, basically, the little intro to that was just meant that Lara Croft is basically on her own on this. It's kind of the concept there. And to make things further, there's no way of getting out, at least for a while yet. So basically that no controller, I was trying to turn on the dual shock controller so I could use the joysticks, but apparently you can't. And that makes sense because this game came out before I think the dual shock was even invented, and they just never went back to. I mean, honestly, I suppose they would. It would be kind of difficult to kind of do that. But so basically, you're stuck using the control pad. So that it's just something to get used to. Considering that most 3D games I play, I use the joysticks, but considering that there were some 3D games before that had happened, something to get used to. But really, because I like the DualShock and the PlayStation controller, it's not too much of a deal. So that's the schematic for it. I had to basically figure it out. I mean, I'm not, this is kind of a partial blind run. I mean, I've at least done this stage before, but the controls take a little bit of getting used to. And I know that like Tomb Raider 2 and Tomb Raider 3 and any ones after that for the PlayStation probably do have better controls and such. I would have to say it's probably that much easier to kind of mess with, but there's probably going to be some points where Lara Croft is going to look stupid when bad things happen to her just because I'm not used to kind of the controls and stuff. I mean, I'm more used to like Grand Theft Auto 3 type where you use the joysticks to move around and stuff, but like I said, there's no way of doing that. So, but the thing about this is, simple hops like this, Lara Croft is not going to be able to get up. You have to kind of, I wonder if just pressing the X button would do that. I don't know. I mean, there's just certain stuff about that I have to go on to get used to and kind of figure out here. I mean, I don't know. Really, I haven't played too many Tomb Raider games. So I don't know, like, how simple. I mean, the action button is how you climb some of those things, but the thing about it is you have to hit the action button right as you're at the edge. So don't think you can just hold the button and it'll take care of it itself. I mean, you have to know when to press it. So that's kind of the thing. And obviously, if there's like a small jump, but Lara Croft jumps high, she's not going to jump over it. So it's not like Mario or, some other jumping game where the jumps just make sense for that sort of thing. I mean, I like the controls in this game, but they are different. They're kind of their own variation here, so it'll take some time, but I think as this series progresses, we'll get it used to it. And I'm glad that Lara Croft has infinite ammo. I'm going to have to say that that's definitely a good thing because I'll tell you that, the combat in this game is kind of tricky. Just because there's not really like a lock on function. I mean, you can look around, and I'd recommend using the L1 button a lot, because like there's a particular enemy that I think would probably wipe out most players if they don't know what they're doing, especially beginners. The bear, I'll go ahead and spoil that. There is a bear later on that I remember fighting that bear when I first played this game, and I died to it because it just had too much health, and you're really not even supposed to come in contact with it. I mean, most people cannot handle a bear, especially even Lara Croft, even if she's trained to do it. It's like, that's kind of the concept. So you have to attack it from a certain height. And I get the feeling there will be more bears in this game. I don't know how they're going to be presented, but it is something that I feel like probably is going to go on. I read the box art on this game, and there is a T-Rex in this game at some stage. That's what you have to kind of pay attention to. I know some of these characters. I mean, I'm not guaranteeing I can beat this game, but I just would have to kind of say, it's going to be... I'm going to try to get far in it to at least give like a pretty valiant playthrough of what I could say. But I mean, I do at least like this game series, but if it does like the typical game trick of like the first three-fourths, kind of getting tongue-tied, first three-fourths of it are easy, and then the last home stretch is really a nightmare, I don't know what'll happen. I mean, just because I'm having difficulty this early on with the controls, I mean, it has good controls, but it's just not something I'm used to at this stage. So, I mean, this was an originator. This is like one of the first 3D games that kind of did this sort of stuff. So this is one of the first. This, Mario 64, games like Resident Evil, that type stuff, these are the ones that did it. So it's just kind of, that's why it, you can complain about it, but it's difficult to complain just because these were the breakthrough ones. But, so yeah, I mean, like, for example, when I was talking about the jumping sequence, I mean, you have to know when to press the action button or the X button if you're using the control type 1 to climb. This is the only way out of this situation. So I'm trying to figure it out. It kind of pissed me off a bit, but yeah. I kind of felt like it should have just done it on its own, but, So. Yeah, so there will be some getting used to this game. Like I said, there's probably going to be, like, damage taken and that sort of stuff just based upon me wandering out as far as me trying to say, like, trying to figure out how well that sort of stuff is going to go, but, I do appreciate this. But the thing about this is, Tomb Raider kind of reminds me of Metroid, just more in like real life and real terms, not so much science fiction. Just because Lara Croft is similar to Samus, just because they're both kind of games that do not really focus on much other than the main character. I mean, it's going to be... I can't say that for certain. I know the Tomb Raider movie, I did see one of those movies, but... Like, I know Tomb Raider probably will have other people, but I just don't think this is like an action RPG where you're going to have like a character at like the beginning of the tomb or something, and I just don't know what kind of... I mean, I think that this is meant to be based upon just Lara Croft and being a good adventure game. I would like to have it be something more, and I bet you the later ones did that, but I just wonder how much... I mean, I could tell just by that dude that got killed by the wolves in the intro cutscene that's probably what most of this is going to be about. So, but we'll see how it goes. I mean, I would have to say, it's just going to basically be involved, just me reacting to the sort of stuff that Lara Croft does. That just kind of happens to be the thing there. But I do like this game. I mean, I do think I'll enjoy it, and I hope to be able to complete it. That's really the thing there. But yeah, I mean, there's been tons of models for this woman. That's really the thing. I mean, there's been plenty of women that have dressed up like Lara Croft and have done a pretty good job, like the one you'll see in the thumbnail for this that you probably clicked on. yeah, I mean, I don't know like the one that I chose, but just to kind of say there have been a few. I mean, it was just something. I mean, that was about as close as like, that sort of stuff. I mean, it's good. I mean, that's definitely the thing about it is trying. I mean, honestly, you could say like, like Lucy Liu would make a good Chun Li or something like that, or um, trying to think of, like Katie Holmes would probably make a good character. I don't know who she could play, but trying to think of some heroines in video games, but just think of like the actress Katie Holmes and then wonder who she could wind up being. So it's kind of the thing. But yeah, so that's kind of the thing. I mean, really, I was trying to shoot the wolves. I can see that they're down there, but they are kind of smart to the point where they hide real close to like the wall, so you can't quite shoot them. And it's something. I mean, you definitely want to watch where you walk. I mean, be very careful about walking off the edge because I mean, not only will you take fall damage, but then you have to quickly draw out your weapons and be able to shoot them. And it's just a lot of. I mean, because we haven't gotten any health packs yet, I feel like it would just be unnecessary damage. So, I mean, really, the point is just to stay up high, at least in these first couple stages, until like Lara starts getting health packs and stuff like that. So, this really happens to kind of be the remark. Yeah. But I mean, the thing about it is this game is not. And it's not too highly meant to be quick. That's really it's not going to be meant to be like running around, because this one wrong move, if you were to fall down there, you'd have to go back and go all the way back up and do all those jumps and that sort of stuff and make sure that you got there. So this is it's just best just to take it slow and I mean, some people really can navigate through this. I mean, if you've been playing this for 20 years, something like that, since the PlayStation first came out, I would say, yeah, you'd probably have a decent time with it, but this kind of depends. So, but yeah, just, it's good that Lara doesn't run out of ammo. It's definitely, because you don't have like a targeting type thing. It's just good to just keep shooting until those enemies are gone. So, alright, we've got a couple minutes left. So this is part 1, folks. We'll see what this adventure has to offer and wonder what's going to wind up happening. I do wonder if it's just going to be mostly encounters with nature. I mean, I would suppose there's going to be some surprises, but I keep thinking that this is going to be like some sort of action RPG where you're going to have like actual folks to kind of do things. But I think this is really more of like a Mario 64 type game, only with a female lead hero. So, which is fine. I mean, that's definitely the thing. This is just like when I was talking about Crash Team Racing. If you've watched that recently, these are good games to kind of crack open. So. Alright, so, and keep in mind, I mean, you're going to want to know how to use jumps with Lara, so, I mean, it's a little bit tricky at times, but it's a skill that you're going to want, just because if you don't, you'll either have to load the save, or you're going to have to take damage from the enemies, because I'm guessing that the enemies are going to be waiting for you down below, like what's kind of happening in this first stage, and that's, you kind of get punished for not making these jumps. So, but definitely don't try to do this without killing the bear first. I mean, you are going to have to make a jump here, but definitely kill the bear. And, you just have to use the L1 button to be able to target him or it and stuff. So, alright, folks. I'll see you next time. Subscribe for more fun. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful night, and I'll see you in part 2.